Hey Canada, it's David here, and I have the glorious chance to be on a Zoom call with Myrna Chartrand, who, I mean, there's some formal things about who she is. She is one of the ladies in the first ever Canadian Women's Trekking Calendar, True North, about 3 years ago, and that was awesome to work with Myrna. We did a photo shoot just outside of Winnipeg, and got to meet her, get to know her a lot more. She is the Manitoba Trucking Association Trucker of the Year. What year was that, Myrna? Was that 2019?
2019?
2019, I think so. And so she's got all these accolades, and she's worked for Portage Transport, where people bow down and just say thank you, Myrna, for who you are. And I do that too, because as I've known her, she's just, and this is the biggest title that she carries, she's just an amazing person. And so just between personality and attitude and commitment and drive and fun and all of those things, Myrna's just an awesome example for both men and women in the trucking industry. So Myrna, thanks for taking the time to be
Well,
with
thanks
me
for
today.
having me, David.
Yeah. So just for those of you who and we be the few who haven't heard of you and haven't heard some of your story, can you just give us a quick synopsis? How'd you get into trucking? How'd that all start? How did this journey come about?
Um, I wanted to be a truck driver right from the time I graduated high school. My dad drove, my brother drives, and I think it was just in my blood already. We'd gone to a lot of trucking events, sort of stuff, truck shows, and as growing up in a small town, and when I moved to the city after graduation, my mom was nervous enough to have me leave the little town for the big city. And so I think the idea of me being a truck driver at that point was a little more than I think she could handle. So she was like, here's a college catalog, pick something else. And so I got my diploma in chemical and biosciences technology.
Wow, I
I
did not
worked,
know that.
what's that?
I did not know that about you. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I worked at a pharmaceutical company for 7 years, and in hindsight now, I would have lost my job eventually anyways, because they did a bunch of layoffs. They eventually sold the company, but that drive never left me. And so one day I went and got my books to study for my beginner's test. I studied, I went and wrote the test, and then I called home and said, I'm going to be a truck driver.
And
And my mom said, whoa, okay. And I said, yeah, I passed. I can officially drive a big truck, as a beginner. Well, what do you plan on doing with this? And I said, well, being a truck driver. So I said, I'm going to go to the course. I'll take the classes, and I'm going to do this. And as much as she wasn't happy about it, she could feel that I was driven to do such. So
yeah,
she supported me. And unfortunately, she passed away only a few months after I actually got into trucking. So it's kind of, I know she's watching me from above, but to see the accomplishments that I've done at the choices I've made, I think she would be really proud of that. I know my dad definitely is. And I'm just lucky that I had a support system to, sort of followed me up into this desire that I wanted. And, I was driven to do this, and
yeah,
they backed me up 100% all said and done.
that's cool. Parents are well, I can't say all parents are alike, but I think a lot of them are alike in that I can relate to that. Uh, when,
Yeah.
when I left a good paying job to start my own company, the hardest person to tell was my dad.
Yeah.
Because I could see him, like when I worked at Shell, he was so proud. And at Christmas time, he would talk to his friends, David's doing this and David's doing
Yeah.
this, David's doing this. And then I remember when I finally, like, I got the gumption to make the phone call and tell him, he was like, son, I just want you to be happy. And if you're happy doing what you're going to go do, you go do it and give it your all. And
Yeah.
that was just such a relief and such a support. And so kudos to
Mm-hmm.
your parents for doing that. And I know your mom means the world to you, and I know she's looking down on you, and she's cheering you on. That's awesome. You are like definitely, and I wouldn't be alone in giving you this title. You would be in the top 5% of happy truckers on the road. Because that's just you, and that's what we love about you. And life isn't easy on the road, and life hasn't always been easy for you.
Mm-hmm.
How do you maintain the attitude? Like, what keeps you happy on the road?
Well, I
And
think that's I can attribute a lot to my parents as well because I was raised in a family. We were always happy. Families have their good times, bad. My parents were always like we were very positive people. And, when we went out, they would say, "Oh, you guys are always smiling." And my dad's, go and doesn't matter where he goes, he could leave the province, leave the country, and still run into someone he knew. And
awesome.
same thing, always a smile on his face. And I've tried to follow up with that too, that's how I want to be remembered. Not, someone who's grouchy all the time and talking down, but you know what? I saw her and, she's still smiling. I want that for, years to come. And you know what? If you're going to do something, for me, I guess it's like I want to give 110% at whatever I do. Whether I'm happy doing it or not, I'm going to give 110%.
Yeah.
But, things 110% is easier to do when you got a smile on your face, I think. You know?
I like it. I totally agree. And that is just so awesome.
And now I think it's kind of like my image. Like,
Yeah,
some days you're not feeling it. We all have that. And I
yeah,
feel like if I come and I'm not smiling or my tone isn't the usual, people pick up on that right away. And they're just like, what's the matter? This is not you.
yeah.
So I mean, again, some days you just have to be that way. But again, don't want that. I don't portray that. I feel like I do have a quote unquote image to portray, and I want to be like that as much as I
You do have a brand, and so we need to come up with a logo for it if you already haven't got that logo yet. And so that's
can. I
something
do not have a logo.
that's probably what we need to do because you definitely do have a brand and it's a positive brand and it's an awesome brand. You inspire not only women but men on the road. You inspire all truckers around you. As I talk to people,
Hmm.
you're just an inspiration. But especially for women, because I mean, that's love the work of Shelley Juvenile Hesh and the Women's
Hmm.
Trucking Federation of Canada. And I think you've been working with them in bits and pieces and been a part of that. But we don't need the formal, and it's important what they do.
Yeah.
So shout out to them, but you just do it. And so what tips would you give to young women considering a career or older women considering a career, just ladies on the road, tips for success? Because they are, they're growing, but they have been the
Yeah.
minority. What's Myrna's words of advice?
One thing that I remember right back from the truck is, and my brother helped me with this too, was that, don't give up. I remember I've never driven a stick shift prior to doing trucking. So the shifting part and stuff like that, it was getting to me. And I was like, maybe trucking's not for me. Just because I couldn't get this one thing, maybe trucking's not for me. And I'm a perfectionist. I won't even deny that. If I can't do it, well, there's no point in doing it at all.
Yeah,
And I just remember thinking, you know what, if I can't get this by next week, maybe this isn't the right career path. And
yeah,
my brother said, don't give up. Nobody got it right on the first day. Keep going. You have the drive to do it. Keep at it. And
that's
so I
awesome.
kept at it, and here I am. Like you said, as an inspiration. Like that wasn't something I ever set out to do. Like
Yeah,
when I first got into trucking, I thought, am I going to have any friends? Like, how do you make friends in trucking? Because everybody's in their truck driving, and then like, do you meet people when you stop? What is this going to bring for me? Like, I felt like I was kind of a people person, but where am I going to make friends now when you don't have a constant social circle all day long?
yes.
And strangely enough, next thing you know, I'm going to truck shop, meeting people there. People are recognizing my truck on the. I get calls on the CB. Hey, is this the famous Myrna here? And I'm like, yeah, let's say infamous or a legend in my own mind. But
Yeah,
that was all because I didn't give up. So
yeah,
first and foremost, I think, what, if you think it's not for you, I mean, in certain circumstances, maybe it's not for you. But if it's something that seems like a minute, like, oh, I'm not getting the shifting today, you know what? Don't give up. You might get it tomorrow, you might get it next week.
yeah.
I'm still learning to back up. I'm almost 12 years in and still learning. So I just wasn't a natural, we'll put it that way.
Yeah.
So first tip, don't give up, keep trying. It'll come to you. And second tip, I think that was super important to me was having that the mentorship around the friends that were also truck drivers. That hey, you know what, you need to call somebody because you need help with this or that. Don't hesitate. You know, I was taking notes from drivers that have been around the block once or twice. And so that would be my tip number two is, you know, surround yourself with people in the industry that you trust, more so that you trust, and really learn from them because there's so much knowledge out there that even I'm learning stuff every day. And again, that was something that one of the knowledgeable people said was when you start to think that you know it all, maybe it's time to get out of that career.
That would be true for any career. You got it.
Yes.
Yeah, I put you on the spot. Do you want to shout out to one of your mentors? Who's one of your mentors that you've learned from?
My biggest mentors, my brother was first and foremost number one. He led me with a couple of his coworkers at the time that, you know, I was getting help through them. Then when I started at Portage Transport, we have a driver named Smiley. He had been on the road many, many years and could fix anything, could go anywhere. And he was one of the biggest ones when I first started there that really helped me out. And of course, the famous Bear is also another one of my mentors.
Yes.
Glad to call him one of my best friends. He's helping me out all these times and continues to.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm not surprised that at Portage you connected with Smiley.
Yeah.
You two were meant to connect.
It's
And
contagious.
so let's end off with this. Like, yeah, there's so much we can learn from you. But let's end off with this: is that a part of your brand is your fashion. And so
Mm,
anyone who's friends with you on Facebook sees different hair colors, different glasses, different looks. When we did the True North calendar, it was a pinup calendar.
yeah.
And I'll be in this video interspersing some of those photos from that photo shoot so that people can see. And that was just a blast. We started at a hair salon, which is not normally what you would consider a set for a trucking calendar shoot.
Yeah.
And it was just a blast. Fashion tips. Why, like, I mean, how many different hair colors have you had in your life? And give us some fashion tips for
Well,
having fun.
it sucks right now because we'll call this my COVID hair. Go to a salon. And I was thinking about it that all of our photo shoots that I've had with you have all been with dark hair. I have not had a photo shoot with you with the pink
We will
hair.
fix that.
I'm going March 1st to get my hair done. We're going back to Pinky style. I also have a Pinky 3.0 truck in the process that apparently is built and is
Wow.
on his way from Texas in the near future. So
Nice.
I'm thinking we need a new photo shoot with the new truck and the new hair.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just posted on Facebook how I saw myself 17 years ago to now and the image like how I thought of myself or whatever. And I posted that 17 years ago I was trying to blend in. I didn't want to be pointed out. I wouldn't have worn a bright color so that somebody was like, oh, look at that girl there. Who does she think she is? And it was more of a self-image thing than anything else.
Yeah.
And so I feel like trucking really helped me express myself and people took to it like, hey, that's cool, you know, let her do what she wants. So I guess when you get kind of that positive feedback, you're like, heck yeah, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. So then I was like, let's look for brighter colors, let's look for brighter hair. I think I've had about 6 different hair color rainbow styles, but I think the pink, I kind of go back to the pink every time because like you said, that's kind of the brand now. And I've had dark hair for about 8 months now, and I keep running into people that are like, "This just isn't you," you know.
Where are those
And
pink roots?
yeah, and I said the white hair doesn't show up so well, so I need to get my pink hair back again. And yeah, it's just you do you, you know. And it's like you want to wear the bright colors, wear the bright colors. You want to wear the pink hair, you do you. And it just
Um,
kind of, I guess, as I'm getting older, I'm realizing I don't so much care what other people think. now. Like, oh, what will they think if they see a girl with pink hair? Like, oh, I better not do it. Now I'm like, no, I'm just gonna do it. You deal
Yeah.
with it, or look away if you don't like it.
You know what? That you said it a few times, and I mean, obviously it's your choice, but you do you is might be a good brand kind of slogan for you. You do.
Hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think that's really.
Yeah.
Myrna, thank you for spending time today. I mean, the thousands of people that I've met and that know you, I can tell you that you're loved as a person for who you are, and you continue to do you because it's awesome and you inspire. And so thanks for telling your story. Thanks for inspiring young women, and just, yeah, keep being awesome out there, my friend.
Well, I'm Well, I'm still thinking of that driver of the year, and I'm like, was I driver of the year 2018? I may have made an incorrect response there, but it was 2018 or 2019.
But you know what? That's what's so cool about you is you're humble about it, and it
Mm.
really just isn't. Did you know that in 2019 I was like that? That's not, and that's what makes you great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me, David, and letting me speak because, I like to talk and we could talk for hours
We
if we
could.
had the time. But I do appreciate everything you do for our industry and promoting men and women. And you do a fantastic job. So it's always a pleasure to work with you. And I certainly look forward to the next photo shoot.
Yay! I do too. I mean,
Pictures to come of the new truck shortly, hopefully.
Yes, keep us updated, and we'll
I
definitely.
certainly will.
Yeah.